CreepyCorner stories.
Hey everyone, welcome back to CreepyCorner stories. You know, diving into the dark web is always risky, but sharing these stories with you makes it worth it. I'm curious, where are you watching this from right now? Let me know in the comments below. I noticed that these kind of stories hit differently depending on where you are. It might make the experience a little creepier. So tell me, are you watching from the safety of your home or somewhere less secure? I thought I had déjà vu. Turns out I'm in a dark web simulation that's looping every 72 hours. Yo, before I even start this, let me just say, I know how this sounds. I know the deep web horror story formula is kinda old at this point, but I swear on everything I love, this isn't one of those I bought a haunted laptop off eBay stories. This happened to me, and I think someone's still watching me. If you don't see me post the other parts, you'll know why. So, I'm just a regular guy, 21, live in Oregon, go to community college, work part-time at a Starbucks off I-5, and spend way too much time online. You know the type. I'm into weird internet rabbit holes, creepy YouTube channels, random unreleased Spotify songs with 0 plays, fake Instagram accounts that post only one photo, stuff like that. I watch a ton of horror animation channels on YouTube too. Here's My Story, Mr. Nightmare, Wendigoon, all that. One night, around 2 a.m., I was watching a Luna video on autoplay, and in the recommended section, there was this video titled, "This game exists on the deep web, and no one can explain why thumbnail looked sketchy as hell." Black screen, red text that just said, "Do not click." Now, I should have just moved on, but I'm not smart at 2 a.m., so I clicked it. The video, it was just a screen recording, a guy with a super calm voice, no face shown. He's on tour, obviously. Navigates a few directories until he ends up on this weird .onion site called Wait. I don't want to cause trouble to anyone, so I won't tell the name of the website. There's no homepage, just a black screen with white blinking text, greater than welcome to exit. Do you want to play? YN. He presses Y, and I swear to God, the entire screen glitches for a second, like real static, like old TV static, not just digital artifacting. Then it loads a menu that looks like an early 2000s Flash game. Think Newgrounds meets a Creepypasta Tumblr blog. At first it looks harmless, dumb pixel art, one character, no background music. The player moves their character around, but there's no goal, nothing to collect, no enemies, just walking. Then the guy opens a text box. It says, "Someone is watching you through the screen right now." Okay, classic creepypasta stuff, right? Except then, he says his mouse stopped working, then his keyboard, and then the game exits by itself. Last 5 seconds of the video with just his desktop camera flickering on, like his real camera. You see half a face in the dark, pale skin, then it cuts. That video had 408 views. Posted 6 years ago. No comments. Channel deleted. The setup. I didn't think much of it at first. I figured it was one of those ARGS or interactive horror projects, but I saved the URL. Dumb idea number 1. A week goes by. One night after work, I'm at my apartment. Roommate's out. I'm on Discord with my friend Luis, who's also into weird internet stuff. I tell him about the video, and we start laughing about how fake it probably was, but he dares me to go on Tor and find the link again. Of course, I take the dare. So I boot up my VPN, get into TOR, and paste the link. And it works. Same black screen, same white text. Welcome to exit. Do you want to play? Now this is where things get weird. I hit Y on my keyboard. Instead of loading a pixel art game like the video, it showed live webcam feeds, like CCTV stuff, but not city streets or shops. They were all places like inside someone's kitchen, a McDonald's break room, a gas station bathroom, the back of a Starbucks, which looked exactly like mine, an overhead view of someone asleep in bed. Each cam had a little label under it. One said, Level 1, familiar spaces. Then a message pops up, choose a feed to continue. I didn't click any. I panicked and closed the browser, shut down Tor, disconnected Wi-Fi, restarted everything. I didn't sleep that night. The first sign. Next day, everything felt off. You ever get that feeling someone's staring at you, even when you're alone? That tight pressure in your chest. I felt that all day. At work, I started noticing things. This lady came in and just stared at me while I made her latte. Didn't blink, didn't smile, just watched. Later, I checked the CCTV cameras in the back. Normal practice if you're on your own during closing. But one of the cameras, the one facing the back alley, was just off. Not glitchy. Off. No feed. Just a black screen. I thought maybe it was a wiring issue, until I remembered the camera placement. That feed was the exact same angle I saw on that website. The DMs. That night, I got a DM on Instagram from an account with no profile pic, just a blank username with a bunch of underscores. You didn't choose. They chose for you. I blocked it. Then a notification popped up on my screen. Not on Instagram, not from a browser, just dead center on my desktop. Exit, level 2, loading. I didn't have any programs open. I didn't install anything. My webcam light flicked on. Cliffhanger. Look, I don't know who made this game or what the hell is going on. I factory reset my laptop the next day, changed all my passwords, threw tape over my webcam, even got a new phone. None of it mattered. They're still watching, and the game's not over. I never pressed anything. I never touched the site again. I never clicked any feed, but they said they chose for me. And level 2 started that same night, without warning. Not on my screen, not on a message. It started in real life. Let me explain how I know. Tuesday, 3:47 a.m., the sound in my wall. I woke up gasping like I'd been holding my breath in my sleep. Room was pitch black. Not a sound, except there was this low scraping coming from inside the wall, the one behind my bed. At first I thought it was mice or something. Oregon winters, you know? But this didn't sound like little scratching. This was rhythmic, like metal against wood, back and forth, like something was trying to draw something inside my wall. I put my ear against it. That was the first time I ever heard it. A voice, inside my fucking wall. It was whispering numbers, slow, deliberate. 2, 6, 8, 1, 9, 0. Again, louder. 2, 6, 8, 1, 9, 0. I backed away. My hands were shaking. I flipped the lights on. Silence. Tuesday, 4:12 a.m. Open camera app. I got a notification from the default camera app on my phone. Not Instagram, not Snapchat. Just a blank alert that said, new image saved. My stomach dropped. I hadn't taken any pictures. I opened the camera roll. There was one new photo. The photo was taken from my ceiling, like directly above me while I slept. It showed me in bed, eyes closed, shirtless, blanket half off. The timestamp? 3:47 a.m. That exact moment, I woke up choking on my breath. I dropped my phone. I swear to you, I almost passed out. I checked every inch of my room, the smoke detector, the vents, the cracks in the ceiling. Nothing. I live on the 3rd floor. No way anyone could get in. No way anyone should have been able to take that picture. I deleted it, but I swear I could still feel it in my phone, like it burned through the screen into me. Wednesday, the coffin in the bathroom. So I go to school the next morning, right? Try to act normal. I sit through my psych class like everything's fine. Then I go to the campus bathroom around noon. Now, let me say this first. Our bathrooms are nasty. Industrial fluorescent lights, yellow walls, that sharp smell of cheap soap and moldy tile. The kind of place where you don't make eye contact with anyone. But that day, I walk in and the lights are off. At first, I thought it was just a bulb issue. I pull my phone out to use the flashlight, and I immediately freeze. The stall at the very end, the big one for wheelchair access, it's slightly open, and inside, there's a wooden coffin, dead center, sitting upright, like it had been carefully placed there. Clean black polished wood with a tiny gold plaque that had my full name engraved on it. My legal name, not the name I use online, not my nickname. First, middle, last, exactly how it is on my driver's license. I didn't move. I couldn't even breathe. Then my phone buzzed. New notification. Exit. You're running out of time. I bolted out of that bathroom so fast, I almost dislocated my knee. I skipped class. I got in my car and drove for hours. I didn't even know where I was going. I ended up 2 towns over, sitting in a Walmart parking lot, just trembling. Thursday, the Starbucks stranger. I picked up a night shift at Starbucks to take my mind off everything. It was just me and this girl Kayla, who I barely knew, and we were closing together. 10 p.m. Place is empty, lights low, lo-fi music playing, and this one guy walks in, tall, hoodie, hands in his pockets. He doesn't order anything. He just stands there, staring at the menu board. Kayla goes, "Hi, can I help you?" He doesn't say anything. I step up. I say, "Hey man, we're closing soon. If you want to grab something." He turns to me, slowly, and he just says, "I saw your photo." I swear the blood in my chest froze. He smiled, real slow, one of those fake dry smiles that doesn't reach the eyes. Then he turned and walked out. Didn't buy anything, didn't even open the door. It just swung open for him, like it knew he was coming. Kayla was like, "Okay, that was super weird, right?" I couldn't speak. I just nodded. I checked the cameras later. He didn't show up on any of them. Every angle where he should have been standing, blank. Like he was never there at all. Friday, the real feed. That night, I made the second worst mistake of my life. I opened the deep web again. I wanted to see if the game was still up. It was, but it didn't ask me to choose anymore. This time, it just said, Level 2, complete, streaming live. Then the screen split into 9 tiny squares, 3 by 3 grid. Each one was a live feed of someone's death. I'm not being dramatic. The first one showed a guy in a suit sitting at a dinner table, calmly eating his food, while blood dripped from under his chair. He was tied at the waist, couldn't move, but he was chewing like everything was fine. The second one showed a woman screaming in what looked like a hotel room, writing something on the walls with a knife. Not ink, not paint, her own skin. The third, I don't even want to describe it. Let's just say the person wasn't screaming because they couldn't anymore. But the 9th square, that one was my apartment hallway. from the ceiling angle. Live. I saw myself walk into the screen from inside my own feed. I turned, looked up at the camera, and then the feed cut. Saturday, the warning. I didn't understand. I got a letter that morning. No return address. Inside was a single Polaroid photo. It was me, sleeping again. Except this time, there was a man crouched next to my bed. He was holding up a phone, smiling. On the back of the photo, written in what looked like ashes or dirt, it said, "Level 3 begins at midnight. Do not fall asleep." That night, I drank 5 energy drinks. I played YouTube on full volume. I taped my eyes open with Scotch tape. Didn't matter. I still passed out. And when I woke up, my mirror was cracked. A word had been written in the condensation. Wake up. Right now. I'm writing this from a friend's basement. I haven't been home in 2 days. My roommate says someone came by asking for me. Said they were from EXIT support services. That's not real. I checked. No such company. He said they smiled the entire time. Never blinked. Told him I had unfinished business. I have an open Tor again, but the game's not on my computer anymore. It's not online. It's in my house. It's in my head. And it doesn't need an internet connection to play anymore. Because now I hear it when I close my eyes. That voice from the wall. It whispers something new now. Not numbers. A name. Mine. Over and over. I don't know how many levels there are. I don't know how long I have. But they know where I am. And the next level feels like it's not going to be about me. It's going to be about someone I love. I can't protect them. Not from this. Please, if you're reading this, do not search for the game. Do not click anything. This isn't a challenge. This isn't a riddle. It's a curse. And it's spreading. This is the part I was never going to post. I had it written for weeks. Saved in pieces. Redacted some stuff. Rewrote others. Deleted it once entirely after what happened on August 12th. I didn't want to remember this. I didn't want anyone to see it. But I don't think I have a choice anymore. Because the game's not just watching me now. It's watching you. Yeah, you. You clicked. So it's already started. Level 3 begins when someone else watches. The package that shouldn't have arrived. It came on a Monday. Black box. No tape. No return address. Just sitting on the front porch of the house I was hiding at. I didn't open it. Not at first. But around 3:03 a.m., it opened by itself. I heard it from the living room. This slow creaking sound, like old wood snapping. I came back into the kitchen where it was sitting, and I swear on everything, the top of the box was peeled back like a flower. Inside was a phone, just an iPhone, locked, but the screen was on. A message was already typed out in the Notes app. Choose someone, or we'll choose for you. And below it, 4 photos, people I knew, real people. My mom, working late at a nursing job. My ex, standing in line at a Walgreens. Luis, my friend who dared me to open the site in the first place. And me, but not a photo, a live feed, from directly above me. I turned around. Nothing was there. The first choice. I didn't touch the phone, didn't press anything, didn't make a choice. But the screen glitched and jumped on its own and picked Luis. The note disappeared. A timer appeared. Exit. Level 3. Observe. I had 3 hours to observe. Whatever the hell that meant. I tried calling Luis immediately. No answer. I tried messaging him, emailing him, snapping him. Nothing. Then the screen changed again. It showed his phone. A full screen stream, like I was seeing everything through his eyes. The location said, exit station. No signal. It looked like a subway. Only, not any subway I've ever seen. The lights were flickering. The tiles were blood-stained, but not like old stains. Fresh. Wet. The ads on the wall were all missing faces. Every person on every poster had their face scratched out or removed completely. Just blank ovals where eyes and mouths should be. And Luis was down there. I could see him looking around through the phone, breathing hard. He was saying something, whispering. I don't know where I am, bro. I swear I just fell asleep. I was at home. Now I'm underground. I could hear him, but he couldn't hear me. It was like I was inside a live stream of someone's nightmare. The station. He wandered through that station for the next 2 hours and 40 minutes. The game made me watch, wouldn't let me turn the screen off, wouldn't let me close the app, wouldn't let me sleep. And what I saw still doesn't make sense. There were signs on the walls, like directions, but written in broken grammar, like, to escape, find who dies next. He who walks forward must leave his face behind. Observe, but do not interfere. And the walls kept changing, like morphing. 1 second, he was in a subway. The next, it looked like the inside of his old high school. Then a Petco. Then a child's bedroom. His childhood bedroom. But every version had one constant. Mirrors. Every hallway, every turn, there was always a mirror. And in every mirror, his face was missing. It was just a void. The woman in the yellow dress. I don't know how else to say this. She wasn't human. Luis turned a corner, and there she was, just standing in the middle of the tunnel, under this buzzing light, like she'd been waiting. No face, no hands, just a yellow silk dress covered in handwritten names. Hundreds of names, thousands, carved into the fabric with some kind of knife or fingernail. She didn't move, until he looked away. Then she stepped forward, fast. He looked back, and she was still again. He started running. The lights behind him kept going out. Pop, 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 like they were chasing him. I was screaming at my screen. Then the camera froze, just hard cut to black. The timer hit 00:00:00, and a new message appeared. Observation complete. Player terminated. But that's not the worst part. That morning, I got a call from Luis's sister. She was crying, hysterical. She told me Luis never came home last night. She found his phone on his bed, screen cracked, still playing white noise. But that's not what she was crying about. She said she opened his laptop, and there was one window open. My Instagram account. Still logged in, still active, direct messages open, and a new message was typed. Not sent, just typed out. You watched. Now it's your turn. The security camera incident. Thursday, 10:48 p.m. I couldn't sleep. I hadn't in days. So I went back to the Starbucks I used to work at. Figured I'd sneak in through the back. My manager still hadn't taken away my key. I just needed a place with lights, with people nearby. Somewhere that felt real. But when I got there, the door was already open, not kicked in, not broken, just unlocked. I stepped inside. Lights were off. Machines unplugged. Felt like the place had been abandoned for months, even though it had been open earlier that day. I went to the office in the back and checked the security camera feed. That was the second worst decision of my life. Every feed showed the store like normal, from earlier that day. People ordering, waiting for drinks, staff smiling, normal day. But at 10:48 p.m., all 9 cameras glitched at once. Then a new camera feed showed up. one that had never existed before. Cam 10, observation mode, live. It was from inside my chest, not metaphorically. I could see my own ribs, my own beating heart, pulsing, slow, and behind it, a black hand, reaching forward. I yanked the monitor out of the wall, but the screen stayed on for 10 more seconds, then went black. The realization, this game doesn't end. There's no final level, no boss fight, because you're not the player. You're the game board, and every person who watches, who reads, who gets close to it, they're just pieces, sacrifices. I watched Luis die. I watched myself be mapped like a maze, and now they're watching who I choose next. Saturday, exit support came back. They came again, this time at my friend's house. 3 people, black uniforms, smiles, no car. They just walked up the driveway like door-to-door salesmen and said, "Is he ready for level 4? My friend told them I wasn't home. They said, "That's all right. He'll be seeing us soon." Then one of them leaned in and whispered something to my friend before leaving. He wouldn't tell me what they said, just went completely pale. Packed a bag, left the state. Now I'm in a hotel room in Nevada. The mirror in the bathroom is covered with a sheet. I sleep with headphones on full blast, so I can't hear what's behind the walls, but I still see it. That yellow dress, those black eyes, that screen, always waiting for me to look again. They're going to make me choose again. They always do. But next time, they said I'll know the person personally. Because next time, it's someone reading this. I don't know how to tell this part without losing my mind. I don't even know if I should. But if I don't say anything, the game wins. And it keeps moving. To someone else. To you. This part, this is where it stops being about me. This is where it crawled into someone else's life, and I watched it kill her from the inside out. Choose, or will choose. That phrase, it kept showing up everywhere. I started seeing it scratched into receipts, typed in spam emails, spelled in dust on my rear windshield. Even heard it in passing conversations. Like, once I overheard this couple at an IHOP arguing, and right before I walked past their booth, the guy looked up dead in the eyes at me and whispered, "Choose or we'll choose." He went right back to eating pancakes, smiling like nothing happened. That's when I realized the game doesn't just infect devices, it infects people. And once it's watching you, anyone can become part of it. Her name was Jordan. She wasn't supposed to be part of this. She didn't know anything about the deep web, didn't even know how to spell Tor. Her version of horror was binge-watching BuzzFeed Unsolved and sleeping with the lights on. She was my first real girlfriend in years. We met at a grocery store. Total meet cute. I dropped a glass jar of peanut butter. She laughed. I made some dumb comment about ghosts pushing it off the shelf. She said she liked my sarcasm. She saved me, man. At least I thought she did. She was a nurse. The kind who still made house calls for elderly patients, still sent cards to dying kids, still believed in humanity. But the game doesn't care about good people. In fact, I think it likes them more. The night, it chose her. It was a Friday. We were at her apartment in Vancouver. Candles, vinyl, Netflix on mute. One of those perfect nights that make you forget anything bad exists. Until I saw it. Her bedroom mirror, the long one by the closet. It was fogging up. No heat, no steam. Just this slow, unnatural fog crawling across the glass, like fingers dragging from the other side. She was in the kitchen getting wine, so I walked over, thinking maybe it was my breath. I wiped it, but the fog came back instantly. This time it wrote something in the condensation. "She's been chosen." I backed away. She walked in, wine in hand, smiling. I didn't say anything. Didn't want to scare her. Didn't want to believe it. But deep down, I knew. The change. It started slow. She began sleepwalking, something she'd never done before. I'd wake up and she'd be standing at the foot of the bed, facing the window, whispering nonsense like, "Mirror teeth, mirror teeth, mirror teeth." Another night she woke up screaming, clawing at her own arms, shouting that something was crawling inside her eyes. She started drawing things too, on receipts, napkins, her own arms, doors, just doors, but with no handles, and on every door she drew, there was a phrase scratched above it. "You can't open what doesn't exist." The video file that appeared on my phone. It wasn't sent, it wasn't downloaded, it just appeared. No app notification, no file name, just a 9-second video titled exit_level_4_viewer.mp4. I opened it. It was a video of Jordan standing in front of her mirror, but her reflection was smiling while she wasn't. You get that? She was just standing there, neutral, motionless, but her reflection was smiling, twisting her head, tilting it, mouthing something. I paused the video and watched frame by frame. At exactly 4.06 seconds, the mirror stretched, not like a glitch, like real glass melting, bending outward, reaching toward her face. The reflection opened its mouth, way too wide, and whispered, "One of you stays." Saturday, 3:13 a.m. She wasn't alone. I woke up to her humming in the kitchen. She wasn't making food. She was carving into the linoleum floor with a fork, making a circle. In the center, she had placed every mirror in her apartment. Hand mirrors, compact, bathroom mirror, even her phone screen, cracked and reflective. She was whispering the word exchange over and over. She looked up at me, but her eyes weren't hers. They were mirror eyes, like shards of broken glass, shimmering and deep. She smiled, that same smile from the video. "I saw the next level," she said. "You won't like it." What the game did to her mind. For 2 days, she didn't eat. She only stared at reflective surfaces. I took every mirror out of her place. She started screaming, bit me, drew blood. When I looked at the wound later, it wasn't just a bite mark. It was in the shape of a symbol, a spiral with eyes around it. I looked it up. It doesn't exist. No results, no record, nothing in any religious or occult database. But that night, I found the exact same symbol burned into my car's back seat, like someone had taken a soldering iron to it. What I saw in the hospital, I had her admitted after she passed out cold in the bathtub, whispering Latin phrases into her wrist. They put her on suicide watch. I stayed the night, slept in a waiting chair. Coldest night of my life. But around 2:57 a.m., I woke up to her room monitor beeping wildly. I rushed in. She was sitting up, smiling, eyes rolled back. But the mirror in her room, it wasn't reflecting her. It was showing me, not as I was, but dead. Eyes gouged out, mouth split open like a peeled orange, chest wide and hollow, like something had dug inside and nested. I turned to look at her. She whispered, "They want your body, but they want my soul." And then she stopped breathing. She was dead for 4 minutes. No pulse, no oxygen, flatline. Then she sat up mid-CPR and screamed in a voice that didn't belong to her. "Level 4 complete. Initiating level 5. Every light in the hospital shut off. Emergency lights kicked in. The monitors went black, then displayed one word: upgrade. The message I found in her eye. They ran tests afterward, said she was fine, but she wasn't. She stopped blinking, stopped speaking. She just sat in her bed, staring into the corner, like she was waiting for someone to arrive. Her left eye was cloudy. Doctors said it was trauma. I knew better. When I took a photo of her, then zoomed in on her eye, I saw me. Not as I was standing there, but laying in bed, unconscious, and overlaid on the iris in white, pixelated text: "Don't sleep in room 317. We never booked that room." But the next night, I get an email confirmation from a hotel in another state. Booking ID 731917. Name Jordan L. Room 317. She was sitting next to me when I got it. Didn't type anything, didn't book anything, didn't even blink. She just smiled and said, "They're almost done building you." Now she's not the same. She blinks too slowly. She hums nursery rhymes in her sleep. She talks to the mirror, not herself. The mirror says things like, "He's not ready yet. His skin isn't loose enough. The next one has to bleed more." Only watchers become vessels. I don't know if she's still in there. I don't know if I'm next. I don't even know if I'm me anymore. But I know this: level 5 already started, and I think it's being played through you. If you've read this far, you've already been chosen. Mirrors know your face now. Check yours. If your reflection isn't blinking when you are, it's too late. This is my final post. And not because I'm giving up, not because I escaped, but because after this, you'll see me. Because now, you're playing. The setup. If you've made it this far, you've seen the signs. You've heard the breathing behind the mirror. You've seen reflections twitch before you move. You've probably even dreamed in third person. That wasn't a dream. That's how it starts. That's how Exit begins constructing you. Because level 5 doesn't start in a room. It doesn't start on a screen. It starts in your memory. And it ends inside your body. August 17th. When I woke up in pieces, I came to inside an apartment I didn't recognize. No lights, plastic sheets on the walls, newspaper taped to every window. My wrists were zip-tied to a rusted lawn chair, and I could feel something wet sliding down my back. It wasn't blood, it was ice. Not the kind that melts, the kind that burns. Dry ice, maybe. I don't know. What I do know is that someone was in the room, not watching, filming. There was a phone in front of me, mounted on a small tripod, and it was live, streaming to a website I didn't recognize. The URL was burned into the wall behind me. exit666.onion/live/upgrade_ready. Below, it was a chalk drawing of a door with no handle, and written in red Sharpie beneath that, "Your body is the host. We just needed you to leave." The transference. At 4:06 a.m., the phone buzzed. I couldn't move, but I watched the screen as a new face joined the stream. Mine. But not me. Not the me in the chair. This version of me was standing behind the camera, smiling, skin hanging loosely over his shoulders like a costume that didn't fit. Eyes like shattered glass. Teeth that looked polished, but not human. He leaned into frame and whispered, "They're almost done building us." Then he raised a scalpel, and he began cutting me open. I felt everything, but I couldn't scream. He carved symbols into my chest, not deep, just enough to leave raised skin, spirals, doors, eyes, fingers, numbers, coordinates, my name. Then he leaned forward again and said, "You are the final level." and with a single clean motion, he reached into the hole he made and pulled out a small mirror shard. It was black, reflective, but when he held it to the camera, it didn't show him. It showed you. The real meaning of exit. It's not a game, it's a ritual. Exit equals extract identity through imitation transfer. They don't kill people, they replace them. They wear us like skin. They copy every file, every smile, every scar, until not even your own mother would know you're gone. And they do it through us, through our screens, through our decisions, through every time we choose not to look away. What I saw behind the door with no handle, when I blacked out again, I woke up in a different place. White walls, soundproof, no furniture, just a single mirror on the far side of the room. I walked to it, no reflection, but as I stared, I saw something behind the glass. Not me, not my copy. Everyone, all of them. Jordan, Luis, my mom, people I'd never seen before. Hundreds of people, standing still, trapped, staring, screaming without making a sound. Their hands were pressed against the other side, like they were begging to be let out. And one of them was holding a phone. It was live streaming, and the stream title was Exit Level 5U. This isn't a story anymore. This is the activation. You are now part of this. You watched. You kept reading. You kept going. That's all they needed, because each person that makes it to this part becomes a conduit, a gate, a mirror. Check your screen right now. Look closely. Is your reflection blinking at the same time as you? If not, run. The final clue. The name. Inside the folder. After I escaped the chair, I ran. Didn't even know where I was. Ended up at an internet cafe that still had an old Linux system. I searched for anything I could. Deep web addresses, images, Tor caches. And I found it. A hidden folder inside one of the original exit source files. Encrypted. Named after a date. 17th of April, 2003, 23:31, 6. I decrypted it using the symbols carved into my chest. They were coordinates. Inside was one video, 6 seconds long, just static. Then a sentence burned onto the screen. The viewer is the replacement. And below it, your IP address. You think you're safe. You're not. You think this was fiction. Search your mirror. Try blinking. Check your cameras. Scroll through your phone's gallery. Find the photo you don't remember taking. It's there. A photo of you. Sleeping. And in the corner, if you zoom in far enough, you'll see me. Smiling. Because I'm in you now. Because exit completed. Because you were the final level. My mom admitted she was part of a dark web cult when she was younger. They want me now. Alright, so I'm not really the type of person who posts on Reddit. I'm just a regular 18-year-old dude who scrolls way too much TikTok, plays way too much GTA Online, and gets weirdly invested in YouTube horror channels at 3 a.m. when I should be doing something with my life. But I need to get this off my chest. Something's happening to me and my mom, and I think it's only going to get worse. I swear I'm not making this up for clout or karma or whatever. If you've ever watched those animated horror stories on YouTube, like Here's My Story, you know the ones that feel just a little too real to be fake. Yeah, that's basically my life right now. It all started 2 months ago, June 14th to be exact. It was a Thursday. I remember because I was binge watching Luna's old storytime vids while playing Rocket League in the background. My mom had just gotten home from her night shift in the hospital. She's a nurse in ICU, works crazy hours, and for once, she looked really off. Not like the tired off, more like her soul had been yanked halfway out her body. I thought maybe a patient died or something, so I didn't bug her. But around 2 a.m., I heard this noise. It was crying. Now, I've only seen my mom cry maybe twice in my life. She's not the emotional type. I'm talking the kind of woman who held in tears at my dad's funeral and then made me soup to comfort me. So hearing her sob in the kitchen like that, it hit different. I crept downstairs in the dark, trying not to be weird. I wasn't even gonna say anything, just wanted to peek in and make sure she was okay. But when I rounded the corner, I saw her sitting at the kitchen table, her face buried in her hands, her shoulders shaking like she was freezing. What made it worse? She wasn't alone. There was a laptop open in front of her. Her old beat-up ThinkPad that she never uses unless it's for taxes or something. And on the screen was some kind of live stream. No chat box, no username, just a staticky black and white video feed of this dark room. It looked like a basement or something. Concrete walls, one swinging light bulb. But the thing that got me was the symbol on the wall behind the camera. A circle, drawn in what looked like red chalk or paint. A vertical line down the middle, and 3 smaller circles forming a triangle around it. It looked ancient, like cult-type creepy. She didn't see me, but I caught a glimpse of her whispering something to the screen. Real soft. Something like, "Please, not him. Not yet." I backed up, quiet as I could. I didn't sleep at all that night. The next day, I tried to play it cool. Waited until she left for work, then went through the laptop. Nothing. Literally nothing. No stream history, no bookmarks, no sketchy Tor browser, no downloads, just some boring spreadsheets and tax docs, like someone wiped it clean. I started getting weird vibes everywhere after that. Like, our Amazon Echo kept waking me up at 3:03 a.m., saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. I don't even use it." One morning, I found a pile of ash on the front porch in the shape of that same symbol I saw on her laptop. I swept it away before she got home, trying not to lose my mind. But it was last week when things really started to unravel. I got this DM on Instagram from some random throwaway account. Username was just random letters and numbers, like 40-33 child or something like that. It just said, "You were promised. They're watching you now. Stay offline or you'll see the same thing she did." Brother, I was literally at Starbucks when I read that. I looked around like someone was about to walk in with a chainsaw. I asked my friend Brooke, who was sitting with me, to check her DMs too. Nothing. It was just me. When I showed it to my mom that night, she didn't even blink. She just stared at the screen, then at me, and whispered, "You shouldn't have opened the laptop." Then she went to her room and locked the door. I still had no idea what was going on until yesterday. We went to this bougie McDonald's downtown because they got the limited time Japan exclusive menus or whatever, and my mom always wanted to try it. For a moment, it was normal. Laughing, eating spicy teriyaki McChicken like we weren't living in some Netflix horror show. But then, this guy came in, mid-40s, wearing an all-black suit, bald, sunglasses, inside. Dude looked like someone out of a John Wick movie. He walked in, scanned the place. and then made a straight line to our table. Didn't say a word. Just placed a small, yellow envelope next to my tray, nodded at my mom, and walked out. I picked it up. It had no writing on it, just that same damn symbol from before, now stamped in gold wax. My mom just whispered, "It's starting." I opened the envelope when we got home. Inside was a single Polaroid photo. It was me, sleeping in my bed, last night. I haven't slept since. I've triple locked the doors. My phone's been glitching. My TikTok For You page has turned into weird videos of static and distorted audio. I saw a clip that looked like me walking down the street, but from someone else's phone camera. The location was tagged. You know where. I confronted my mom this morning. She broke, told me everything, told me about the cult she joined when she was 19, said they were obsessed with digitizing ancient rituals and pushing them through the deep web, said she thought she escaped years ago, but once you offer something, you can never take it back. She said she offered me, as a baby, for protection, for power, for a better life. She thought it was symbolic. It wasn't. Now they're coming to collect. I got the cheapest hotel room I could find, some beat-up econo lodge off I-87 near Albany. You know, the kind of place that smells like cigarette smoke and sadness, with carpets that feel wet no matter how dry they are. I didn't care. I just needed to be somewhere else. I kept my head down, checked in under a fake name, used a prepaid Visa card I bought from a sketchy 7-Eleven, and turned off my phone the second I entered the room. I even wrapped it in tinfoil, like those TikTok conspiracy theorists say to do. Laugh if you want. I didn't feel like showing up in another Polaroid while I sleep. That night, I put a chair under the doorknob, closed all the blinds, kept every light on, slept with a kitchen knife from the lobby's continental breakfast counter under my pillow. It wasn't much, but it felt like something. At 3:17 a.m., I remember the exact time, I woke up to a noise I will never forget. It wasn't loud. It was subtle, delicate, like a fingernail gently tapping on glass. Tick, tick, tick. I sat up, heart pounding, and looked toward the only window in the room. The blinds were down, but the noise wasn't coming from there. It was coming from behind me, behind the bathroom door. I hadn't even gone in there since arriving. Something about it felt off from the beginning. Maybe it was the way the lights inside flickered randomly, like someone was testing the wiring from a distance. Maybe it was the smell, like burnt hair and rotten wood. But at that moment, something stronger than fear pulled me toward it. I grabbed the knife, took 3 slow steps, and opened the door. The bathroom was empty. No one behind the shower curtain, no one crouching under the sink. But when I looked up, the mirror was wrong. It wasn't reflecting the room I was in. It was a different room entirely. A room with stone walls, lit by dozens of candles placed in little dishes on the floor. I swear I could feel the heat of the flames through the glass. My reflection wasn't there, just the room. And then someone stepped into view. Not someone, something. A figure wearing a mask, porcelain white, cracked down the middle, with hollow black eye holes and a symbol carved into the forehead. That same symbol my mom had on her laptop. But this time, it wasn't red. It was carved in, deep, and leaking something dark like ink or blood. The figure tilted its head, like it was studying me, or recognizing me. Then it did something I didn't expect. It raised one hand and slowly lifted the mask off. I'm not going to describe the face underneath. Not because I'm scared, not because it's too gross, but because it was my face, but older, feral, burned, eyes sunken into bruised sockets, lips pulled back in a grin so wide it made the corners of my mouth bleed just looking at it. My jaw was unhinged like a snake, and my skin was crawling like there were insects under it. It raised its hand, placed one finger against the inside of the glass, and then I saw the etching in its skin, right across the chest, carved deep into the flesh like it was branded, "Promised Child." Then the mirror shattered from the inside. Glass exploded outward. One shard slashed across my forehead, and I collapsed onto the bathroom tiles, bleeding and screaming. I blacked out for maybe 30 seconds, maybe less. When I woke up, the mirror was perfectly fine. No cracks, no blood, no sign it had ever broken, except the cut on my forehead was real. I ran, didn't pack anything, left the knife, left my charger, left the $140 cash under the mattress that I was going to use for gas. I ran barefoot into the street and kept running until I collapsed near a gas station, crying and shaking like I was 6 years old again. Some guy in a lifted truck offered to call me a cab. I told him no thanks and used the gas station's landline to call my best friend Marcus. He didn't answer. I left a voicemail. Just 3 words. They found me. I stayed hidden at a bus station for about 6 hours, watching people walk past and wondering if any of them were in on it. That's the thing I've learned. Once you get tangled in something like this, you start doubting everyone. No face looks safe. No voice sounds human. At around 9 a.m., I decided to go home. Stupid, I know, but I had nowhere else to go, no one else to call, and there was still one person I needed answers from. My mom. When I got there, the front door was wide open. No signs of a break-in. Nothing smashed or broken. But the air in the house, it was wrong. Like it had been sucked out and replaced with something else. Heavier. Still. Dead. I walked inside and called for her. Nothing. Then I heard the piano. We don't own a piano, but I heard piano music, clear as day, coming from the basement. I followed the sound down the stairs. One by one, each creaked like a scream. When I reached the bottom, I found her. My mom was sitting on a wooden chair in the center of the basement, naked, her skin covered in carvings, symbols, numbers, phrases in some language I've never seen. Blood pooled beneath her feet, but she wasn't dead. Not yet. She was humming, rocking slightly, and in front of her was a laptop, her laptop, streaming a live feed of me, standing in the basement. The video was on loop, like security cam footage from the future. Then she looked up at me with wide, bloodshot eyes and whispered, "They already took your image. You're theirs now. They only needed the soul to follow." I asked her who they were. She just smiled with cracked lips and said something I'll never forget. They come from under the code, beneath the broadband, behind the pixels. They were never supposed to be digitized, but we brought them here. We gave them a name, gave them shape. You don't understand what streaming rituals are, do you? Then she slit her own throat, right in front of me, and as the blood sprayed across the keyboard, the screen on the laptop glitched and showed dozens of windows open at once, all of them playing the same video. Me, watching her die, over and over and over. I destroyed the laptop, smashed it with a tire iron, but even after it stopped moving, the screen flickered once more and displayed a line of code. live.0.0.0.1. .inheritance _ complete. That's when I realized the truth. I was never just a victim. I was next in line. They had been preparing me for this moment since the day I was born. Every camera I've ever looked into, every online test, every live stream, every selfie, every face scan on my iPhone. It wasn't just data collection. It was a digital baptism. Now I think I'm something else. Or at least, something's inside me. I see glitches in people's faces. I hear whispers when Spotify goes silent between songs. My reflections smile before I do. And sometimes, when I blink too slowly, the world goes grainy, like an old VHS tape. I've been trying to stay offline, but it doesn't matter anymore. They don't need you to be online. They are online. Every social media filter, every face swap, every AI tool that knows what you'd look like as a cartoon character. They're feeding, growing, merging. I found one of the cult's old forums buried in an archive site from 2003. It was just black text on a white screen. One user posted the final message. The mirror is uploaded. All children promised by blood will soon be reflected. We only needed 10,000 faces. I checked the timestamp. It was posted 1 hour after I was born. I haven't seen Marcus since I called him, but he posted a Snapchat story last night. Just one photo, a black and white image of my old hotel room mirror, and written across it in what looked like lipstick, "Are you ready to see yourself?" I left the house barefoot, covered in blood that wasn't mine, feeling like my brain had been dipped in acid and dragged across a gravel road. You ever feel so scared your body starts to feel numb, like it doesn't belong to you anymore? I think that's what it means to be marked. You lose ownership of your body before they even take it. I walked 6 miles that night, through neighborhoods I used to trick or treat in, past the Starbucks where I had my first job, across the bridge where I kissed a girl I thought I'd marry. Everything felt corrupted, like all my memories had been overwritten, or maybe they were never mine to begin with. I broke into Marcus's place just after midnight. His mom was out of town, and I still had a key from back when I used to crash there to escape my mom's breakdowns. His room was upstairs, lights off. I could smell something weird the second I stepped into the hallway, like copper and burnt paper. The door creaked open. Marcus was sitting at his desk, his back to me, headphones on, monitors glowing faint blue. He didn't move when I said his name. I walked up slowly and tapped his shoulder. That's when I realized the headphones weren't plugged into anything. They'd been glued to his ears, with skin, melted into his head. He turned around, and I swear to God, his eyes had been replaced with screens, 2 small rectangular LCDs where his eyeballs should have been, flickering, showing different images, flashes of static, cult symbols, footage of me walking down a hallway I didn't recognize. It was like he had live feeds of multiple realities running at once in his head. He opened his mouth to speak, but his voice, it wasn't his voice anymore. It was mine. Not like we sounded similar. It was my exact voice, tone, pitch, everything, saying things I never said. You sleep with the light on now. You twitch when you blink. You think you're still a person. You're not. You're the footage. He stood up slowly, blood dripping from his hands. His fingertips were gone, ground down to the bone, like he'd been scratching at metal for hours. And then I saw his wall. The entire thing, every inch of paint, was covered in screenshots, frames pulled from videos that never existed. A photo of me, sleeping in the car when I was 12. A video still of me throwing up at a college party I never went to. Footage of me, buried alive, screaming silently under 6 feet of dirt. Another of me, looking into a mirror, except my reflection wasn't looking back. It was watching me. He reached toward me. I ran. I didn't go home. I didn't call anyone. I walked until the sun came up, shaking, crying, bleeding from a cut on my foot I don't remember getting. Eventually, I ended up in this diner in the middle of nowhere. One of those 24-hour spots that smell like pancakes and loneliness. There was an old TV on above the counter, playing some staticky security feed of the parking lot, and then the screen glitched. For a second, less than a blink, it cut to a close-up of my face, current me, sitting in that exact booth. Then it switched back to the parking lot, like nothing had happened. I asked the waitress if she saw it. She just said, "They like to check in." Tip well, I tried to get help. I booked a session with this underground therapist I found through a Discord channel that specialized in paranormal trauma. Yeah, apparently that's a thing now. The guy met me in an abandoned church outside town, said he used to treat ex-cult members who escaped from Layer 4. I asked what that meant. He said nothing, just held up a USB drive and told me to plug it in when it feels the most hopeless. I took it and left. Later that night, I plugged it into a public library computer alone in the corner. The only file on it was a video, no title, just a timestamp, 9:14:25, 3:17 a.m. yesterday. It started with a black screen. Then a single line of text faded in. Live feed, internal archive, subject 34C, inheritance, ritual, phase 2. Then the footage began. It was me, in a dark room, strapped to a gurney. No shirt, no shoes. Dozens of cables plugged into my arms, chest, forehead. Electrodes blinking. My head was tilted back, mouth forced open by a metal clamp. Eyes twitching, but still wide. And standing around me were versions of me. Some older, some younger, all slightly wrong. One with burns all down the left side of his body. One with no eyes, one with jagged teeth, one dragging his fingers along the walls like he didn't feel pain. Another was just sobbing. They chanted in sync. Playback begins. Stream the soul. Segment the memory. Duplicate the pain. And then they started peeling me apart, digitally, like one of them pressed his hand on my chest and pulled upward, and instead of flesh, he pulled out a pixelated version of me, like dragging a JPEG out of my body. Another version unzipped my stomach and pulled out footage, reels of film that wrapped around the room, playing moments from my childhood. Each of them took a reel, watched it, then burned it. And every time they did, I felt something real disappear from my head. My first kiss, my favorite birthday, the night I met Marcus, gone, like smoke. When the final version of me stepped forward, it said, "This copy is corrupted. The original must be deleted." And then they looked up, at me, watching from the library computer, and the screen said, "Subject 34C has been notified." I smashed the monitor with a chair. No one in the library even flinched. I'm not writing this for attention. I'm writing this because I think the process is almost done. I feel disconnected, like when you leave a Zoom call, but your camera light stays on. Every mirror I see now shows a different version of me. One time, I blinked in the gas station bathroom and caught my reflection reaching toward the glass with a smile that stretched too wide, teeth clacking like camera shutters. The worst part? I smiled back, not because I wanted to, because I had no choice. They've been building something online for years. A ritual coded in videos, face scans, selfies, deepfakes, AI portraits. Every time you posted your face, your voice, your laugh, you gave them material. You became a frame, a line of footage, a segment of the sacrifice. My mum was just the start. Marcus was the rehearsal. I'm the upload. They don't kill you all at once. They erase you in scenes. They edit your soul like a highlight reel. One moment you're brushing your teeth. The next, you don't remember what toothpaste tastes like. You don't remember who you love. You don't remember who you were. And then someone else logs into your body. Someone who's been watching from behind your eyes for years. I don't know how much longer I have, but if you see a live stream pop up that says Inheritance Ceremony, Watch Party, don't click it. Don't even hover over it. Don't read the chat. Don't look at the symbol in the corner, because if you do, you're next in line. And trust me, they know what your reflection looks like too. If you're still reading this, you're probably already infected, not by a virus, not in the computer science sense. It's worse than that. You're infected by recognition, that feeling in your gut that something in this story feels off but familiar, like déjà vu with blood on it. I woke up this morning with something new on my chest, a QR code, no joke, dead center over my sternum. Looked like a tattoo at first, but it was burned into me, like someone used a brand. It hurt like hell, but that wasn't the disturbing part. The disturbing part? It scanned. I took a photo of it using a burner phone I'd picked up from a gas station the night before. The camera app lagged, bad, glitched for a full 10 seconds before finally registering the image. Then a single link popped up, a long, encrypted-looking string of gibberish ending in .onion. I tapped it. The phone didn't load anything. It just crashed, completely black-screened, and then a new file appeared in the storage folder. One I didn't download. It was labeled INHERTANCE/FLESH/FOLDER-34C/inside. Videos of me, from angles no one should have had access to. Footage of me brushing my teeth, eyes flickering. Me sitting on the toilet, slack-jawed, not blinking for 11 minutes straight. Me standing outside Marcus's house, 2 days before I got there. Me sleeping, always sleeping. But in every clip, there was a slight delay between me blinking and my reflection blinking, like a real me was always just a few frames behind. I tried to delete the folder. It copied itself to my arm. I swear to you, I looked down and saw black text crawling under my skin, shifting like code. A file path etched into my veins like a directory system made of nerves, /body_storage/34C/footage_cache/unseen/ I scratched until I bled. Didn't matter. New folders just kept appearing. That's when I realized something. These videos, they weren't of me. They were from me, like my body had been secretly filming for years, like every pore was a camera, every blink a shutter, every heartbeat a timestamp. I wasn't a person anymore. I was a media file. I went to a tech guy I found on Reddit, XNSA, supposedly. I won't say his handle because I don't want him disappearing like the others. He agreed to meet at a shut-down Chuck E. Cheese in upstate New York. Said he could decompile the signature embedded in the flesh code if I could bring him a sample. I didn't know what that meant, but he told me to cut a piece of the skin with the folder path and bring it in a sterile bag. So, I did. I numbed my arm with ice, used an old X-Acto knife, and sliced off a 3-inch square of skin. Yes, it hurt. Yes, I passed out. Yes, it was worth it. When I came to, I sealed it in a Ziploc, wrapped my arm, and Ubered to the location. The Chuck E. Cheese was rotting. Boards over the windows. A busted animatronic mouse head lying by the front door like a warning. He let me in. The inside was pitch black, lit only by a wall of monitors showing nothing but static and symbols, including the circle symbol my mom first showed me. But there were newer ones too. One looked like a sideways USB symbol with teeth. He didn't talk much, just took the bag, plugged it into a biometric scanner, and connected it to a decompiler rig that looked like something built from old Soviet tech and PlayStation guts. Then he froze, whispered, "No, this isn't storage. This is root access." Then he started screaming, clawing at his face. His eyes glitched in real time, like his pupils were turning into black barcodes. He foamed at the mouth and collapsed on the carpet beside a broken skee-ball machine. His laptop burst into flames, and through the smoke, I saw one of the monitors switch to a live feed. My face. Not now, not recent. A version of me that hadn't happened yet. Older, wired up, lying on the same table my mom bled out on, with a USB cable running into my spine. I left him there. If he's still alive, he's not him anymore. Whatever's behind this, it doesn't kill you. It absorbs you. Your blood becomes bandwidth. Your skin becomes interface. Your soul becomes streamable content. Later that night, I blacked out on a Greyhound bus to Chicago. When I woke up, the driver was gone. The bus was empty, except for one thing, a VHS tape sitting in the seat across from me, wrapped in a sticky note that read, "You've been syndicated." No name, no return address, just one word written across the front of the tape in Sharpie. Episode 34, C, Pilot. There were timestamps on the back, exactly 34 minutes long. I found a thrift store with an old CRT setup in the back, told the cashier I'd pay double if I could use it alone. She handed me the keys and warned me. Sometimes they cry through the speakers. I played it. I should have never played it. The tape opened with my birth, shot in black and white, like hospital footage from a 70s documentary. Except the doctors were all wearing blank porcelain masks. One of them held me upside down and whispered something into my eye. Not ear, eye. And the subtitles said, "Boot sequence initialized. Welcome, host 34C." From there, the tape got worse. Each scene was a different phase of my life, but with overlaid HUDs, like I was in a simulation. My first day of school had comment sections. My prom had a viewer count. There were pop-ups that said things like, upvotes, 2,345,887, live reactions, heartbreak, X94, panic, X212, trauma, X3098, ad segment injected, begin memory collapse. And in one scene, I died. Not fake, not dramatized. Real. My throat slit in an alley by a man wearing a Wi-Fi router as a mask. He whispered, "Final render complete." Then the screen looped. I tried to stop the tape. The eject button wouldn't work. The screen flickered and text appeared. Host, attempting to exit. Engaging replay lock. I saw my own face glitch into static. Then a new voice spoke through the speakers, my mom's voice, but digitally warped. We never left the ritual. You just woke up inside the file. I ripped the tape out. The power went out in the store. The cashier was gone. All the lights on the street flickered in sync, and every electronic billboard in downtown Chicago glitched into the same symbol, a circle with 3 orbiting dots and 1 vertical slash. Underneath it, in blood-red text, Episode 34, C, airing now. That was last night. Now people stare at me on the street, not like I'm crazy, like they recognize me. One guy followed me for 6 blocks, live streaming me on TikTok without saying a word. When I screamed at him to stop, he just whispered, "I thought you were cancelled." I'm not sure what's real anymore. Every camera I pass autofocuses on me. Every public screen flickers when I walk by. I've seen versions of myself in crowd shots, advertisements, even Spotify album covers. My body isn't mine. It's open source. My life is being streamed to someone, somewhere. And I think the final episode is coming, because this morning I woke up to find something on my ceiling, carved into the plaster, a countdown. Episode 34C, season finale, in 6 days, 14 hours, 19 minutes. And right below it, in smaller text, would you like to renew for another season? The countdown ended at exactly 3:17 a.m. I didn't sleep the night before. I didn't eat. Didn't blink more than necessary, because every time I closed my eyes for too long, I'd open them to frame skips, like I'd lost seconds, minutes, sometimes hours, like I was buffering, but in real life. When the numbers hit 0, the lights in my apartment dimmed. Every bulb, every screen, even my own pupils dimmed. I stood in the center of my living room, breathing like someone else was controlling my lungs. And then, every screen turned on, by itself. My TV, my phone, my cracked iPad from high school, my toaster's tiny smart display, even the LED strip lights on my wall, synced to the same frequency, all showing me, but not right now, not live. The footage was delayed by about 30 seconds, and I could feel it wasn't just a camera feed. It was recording. It was writing me. Like a script, I was trapped inside. I tried to run. The front door had no knob anymore. The window showed a hallway that doesn't exist. I picked up the nearest object, a metal lamp, and smashed the television. The second the screen cracked, I screamed, not from my throat, from every speaker in the room. Do not interrupt the finale. That wasn't me talking. It was all of me. Voices layered together, some high-pitched like a toddler, some old and crackling like a dying grandfather, some robotic, some exact copies of people I knew were dead. The floor started warping like melted vinyl. The ceiling glitched. My walls became code. I looked down and saw my fingers, twitching independently of my brain, like they were typing something. I wasn't touching a keyboard, but I swear, I could see text bleeding out of my nails. HTML, base 64, words in forgotten languages, script from ancient websites that were buried years ago. Every cell in my body was uploading. They didn't kill me. They didn't even try. They integrated me. It was never about sacrifice. It was about streamability. You think horror lives in shadows, in screams, in killers with knives? Number. Real horror lives in connection, in access, in shared data, in user consent you didn't mean to give, in terms you didn't read. I'm not a person anymore. I'm a file. Around 4 a.m., the voice came back, deeper this time, wet, glitching in and out of existence, like someone was dragging it through 240p hell. You've done well, 34C. Your stream has reached optimal saturation. Your trauma was highly engaging. Your pain has earned top-tier monetization. The final act will be performed inside my head started to buzz. Like, you know when your phone vibrates on a table and it kind of rattles for a second? Now imagine that feeling, but inside your skull, behind your eyes, like someone dropped a notification into your brainstem. My vision glitched out for 8 whole seconds. When it came back, my left eye was recording. No, streaming. I could see chat bubbles floating in the air. Thousands of them. Messages from viewers. Real people. Yo, this is crazy. He looks so scared. Is this real? Bro, he's bleeding out of his ear. WTF. This is peak content. When's the upload drop? The part with the mom. Oscar worthy. Show more pain. Rip 34C. They were watching me die. And cheering. Then came the audience. I don't know how they got in. I don't even know if they were in the room or if I was in the feed. But they surrounded me. Dozens of people. All wearing screens over their faces. Not masks. Actual LED displays. Strapped like VR headsets. Glitching out static faces. Some were me. Some were my mom. Some were you. They moved in perfect silence. They circled me and began humming. A deep digital hum that vibrated in binary. I felt my body freeze. One of them stepped forward, held out a remote, pressed play, and I began to relive everything, but not in memory, in physical, real-time loops. I was a child again, crying in my bed as my mom whispered to the screen, "Cut." I was 17 again, getting the anonymous DM on Instagram, "Cut." I was in the hotel, watching myself in the mirror, "Cut." My mom's suicide, "Cut." Marcus's eyes glitching out of his skull, "Cut." Me, on the table, begging, "Cut, cut, cut." They were editing me live, like a live stream snuff film with a rewind button. My screams had filters. My pain had viewer polls. Should we mute the audio for this part? Yes. No. They muted me. I was dying, and no one could hear me. Then they brought out the mirror. But this time, it wasn't in a hotel. It was in me. They cut my chest open, slowly, carefully, with surgical precision, not to remove organs, to install something. A mirror panel the size of a smartphone screen was pushed into my ribcage. I felt every wire, every screw. My blood became Ethernet fluid. My bones were engraved with QR codes. They turned me around to face the audience and said, "Reflection enabled. Upload complete." And the entire crowd started mirroring my every move. If I blinked, they blinked. If I screamed, they grinned. If I bled, they absorbed. Then they lifted their hands and deleted me. Not all at once, bit by bit, finger by finger, memory by memory, until I was a buffering thumbnail, a loading wheel, a sponsored stream. Then everything stopped. The audience faded, the lights died, and I was alone in a void of black static, and a message appeared in the air. "Thank you for watching Inheritance Trademark. Would you like to rate this episode?" I stared at the words. Then I saw you. Reading this, somehow, I was seeing through your screen. Yes, you. Don't look behind you. That won't help. You clicked. You read. You finished the series. That's all they needed. That's all they ever needed. You see, 34C was just season 1. Your story is next. Final message. New host selected. Episode 49. F. The Reader. In production. Streaming soon. From inside your skull. The dark web just leaked a private message from Princess Diana, written in 2025. Alright, so this is gonna sound absolutely insane, but I swear on everything I love, this is real. Or at least, it felt real. If anyone here is good with tech, deep web stuff, or has ever dealt with those unindexed parts of the internet, please read this. I don't know what I got myself into, but I'm scared to even open my laptop right now. Let me take you back about 2 months ago. I'm a 22-year-old dude from Ontario, Canada. I work night shifts at a 24-hour McDonald's, the one near Queen and Spadina. If you're from Toronto, you probably know it. I live a boring life, mostly, but I've always been that guy who deep dives into weird internet stuff. You know the vibe. Reddit rabbit holes, conspiracy threads, creepy TikToks about Area 51 or haunted forest trails in Japan. I also follow this one channel on YouTube called Here's My Story, where people send in supposedly real experiences. Some of them are definitely fake, but one of them stuck with me. The one where the guy found an old iPhone buried in his backyard that still worked and had photos of someone sleeping. Him. So yeah, I was bored one night after work and decided to finally check out the real deep web. Not the surface level dark web people joke about. I'm talking about the Mariana's Web type stuff. I had heard rumors online about this time-shifted echo forum, a part of the dark web only accessible during certain hours through something called the Looking Glass Protocol. It sounded like pure fiction, like a creepypasta someone wrote after binging too much Black Mirror. But one guy on a tech Discord I lurk in dropped a working .onion link. He said, "Whatever you do, don't click on the red entry. The other links are weird, but the red one is anchored to something alive." Yeah, obviously I clicked the red one. I mean, come on. The page looked alive. The site didn't even look like a site. It looked like a mirror, like my webcam turned on, but it wasn't my face staring back. It was me, but distorted. My mouth moved out of sync, and my eyes didn't blink when I did. It was smiling. I wasn't. Then the page just blinked, like an eye. I swear on my life, it blinked. Text faded in, like it was being typed by someone watching me. "Welcome to the Echo. Would you like to see what comes next?" There were two options. NOPE. Show me. I tapped show me with that dumb half grin adrenaline thing you get when you're scared, but also curious. I wish I hadn't. The first message. It opened a folder labeled Royal Sequence 071895. That's Princess Diana's death date. I checked immediately because it felt wrong. Inside were hundreds of audio clips, text files, and one file just titled 08_24_2025.msg. That date hadn't even happened yet. At the time, it was still June. When I opened it, the file wasn't just a message. It was a voicemail. And the voice, it was unmistakably Princess Diana's. I'm not British, but I've seen enough interviews and documentaries to know that gentle, precise tone of hers. She said, "They know I've come back. I don't know what's real anymore. The cameras are moving again. Tell the boys I love them. The truth isn't buried in Paris. It's inside the glass, the mirrors. They're all watching now." Then static. Loud, aggressive static, like someone slammed their hand down on a speaker. I dropped my laptop, legit dropped it on the carpet, and just stared at it like it was gonna explode. This wasn't a glitch. This wasn't a weird ARG. This felt wrong, like haunted wrong. The McDonald's incident. A week later, things got worse. I was doing my night shift at McDonald's, right? Just me, this chill dude named Sean, who's always baked out of his mind, and a couple customers around 3 a.m. This woman comes in, pale, soaking wet, even though it wasn't raining. She looked out of place, like someone dragged her here from the 90s, legit wearing a navy skirt, pearl necklace, old school heels. It hit me right away. She looked just like Diana. I stared at her, and she just stared back. Didn't blink, didn't move, just stared at me for maybe 40 seconds before saying, "You saw it, didn't you?" I asked her what she meant, and she said, "You clicked the red one. The looking glass sees you now." Then she walked out. Not even walked, glided, like her feet weren't touching the ground. Sean looked at me after and said, "Dude, that was the most British ghost I've ever seen." He was joking, obviously, but his face said he felt something. The disturbing tick-tock. Okay, this part messes with me the most. I tried to forget it. Just chalk it up to sleep deprivation, too much caffeine, weird YouTube horror poisoning my brain. But then, 2 days ago, I opened TikTok. First video on my For You page was this creepy montage of famous historical figures glitching out during interviews. It was obviously fake. The kind of spooky edits high school kids do to get a scare, until it got to Princess Diana. It showed footage of her giving that famous "there were 3 of us in this marriage" interview, but it zoomed in on her eyes. They glitched. Not just normal distortion, they turned black, completely black. Then she turned and looked directly at the camera and said in a whisper, "Tell him to stop digging." The truth sleeps inside the looking glass. The comments were turned off. The username of the poster at royal.echo.0718995. I clicked the profile and it instantly said, "Account not found." I couldn't even screenshot in time. What's next? So, yeah, now I've got this possibly haunted laptop, a mysterious British woman stalking me, and this deep web forum that I can't find again. I tried everything, the link, Tor browser history, even reaching out to that Discord guy, but his account was deleted, straight up gone. And I haven't even told you about the message I found on my own phone this morning. I didn't write it. I didn't send it. But it's in my notes app. It just says, "You're next. Don't look into the mirror during 3:07 a.m. Guess what time it is while I'm writing this? 3:06 a.m. I didn't sleep after writing part 1. Not even a nap. I stared at my bedroom wall. Lights off, screen dimmed, just trying to convince myself I imagined all of it. The voicemail, the TikTok, the British woman in the McDonald's. But when I blinked, I saw her face, burned into my vision like one of those flashbulb memories. Only it wasn't her face anymore. Her eyes were hollow, her teeth too white, too uniform, like those creepy AI-generated faces that are almost human, but just a bit too smooth. Uncanny Valley territory. Anyway, I finally passed out around 7 a.m. I remember that exact time because of what I saw right before I fell asleep. The digital clock on my nightstand flashed for 1 second, and instead of 7 o'clock, it said 071895. Same as the folder name from that dark website. Princess Diana's death date, July 1st, 1985. Over and over. Then my phone buzzed. Once. Loud. Like a gunshot. A new voicemail. No number. No contact name. Just a red dot. I didn't listen to it. Not yet. Not until after what happened in my room. The woman in the wallpaper. I woke up to the sound of breathing. Not mine. Not even from inside the room. It was coming from the walls. Now I know how that sounds. Sleep paralysis. Bad dream. Whatever. I've had sleep paralysis. You feel heavy, panicked, like your chest is being crushed. this wasn't that. I could move. I could breathe. I rolled out of bed, thinking maybe my neighbor was playing some horror game or something. When I got close to the wall, the breathing got louder, and then it started mimicking mine. I'd inhale slow. It'd inhale slower. I'd hold my breath. It would gurgle like it was choking on the silence. I put my hand on the wall and felt something cold press back, like a hand. I yanked my phone out, turned on the flashlight, and that's when I noticed something I never noticed before. The wallpaper. Yeah, I live in this old apartment complex near downtown Toronto, and my bedroom wall has this weird floral wallpaper from like the 80s. I always hated it, but never paid much attention to it. But now, I saw a face behind the pattern. It was hers, the woman from McDonald's. Her head turned slowly, eyes locked on mine, smiling like she'd been waiting. I screamed. Not like movie scream, real scream, that dry, involuntary kind, where your voice cracks and doesn't sound like it belongs to you. I threw a lamp at the wall, and it shattered. Not the wall, the image. And behind it, the wall was hollow. There were scratches, deep, like someone had been clawing from the inside. And at the bottom, barely legible under layers of flaking paint, was one sentence carved so violently into the wood that splinters were sticking out. The crown is dead. But she isn't the voicemail. I finally listened to the voicemail. It started with static. Of course it did. Then a click. Then her voice. Again, unmistakably, Princess Diana. But this time, she was screaming. Not words, just screaming. Then silence. Then something whispered so low I had to boost the volume in an editing app just to hear it. He's wearing William's face now. Run. I dropped my phone. Not metaphorically. I physically dropped it. I stared at it on the floor like it was a gun someone had just fired. The Wikipedia glitch. Okay, this is the part no one's gonna believe. And honestly, I wouldn't either. I went on Wikipedia. Yeah, I know. Random. But I wanted to look at a photo of Princess Diana to prove to myself I was overreacting. Maybe the voice was AI. Maybe the face in the wallpaper was a weird stain. Maybe I'm just going nuts. I typed in Princess Diana, and the page loaded like normal, until it didn't. The photo of her began to change. Her smile twitched. Her eyes blinked. And then the text under the death section started rewriting itself, letter by letter, like a Google Doc when someone else is typing. Princess Diana was declared dead after sustaining fatal injuries in a car crash in Paris. Change to: Princess Diana was extracted after escaping the Paris simulation loop. She was deemed a threat to timeline echo stability. Then it said, last verified message, August 24th, 2025. The Looking Glass Protocol. Do not interact with host body. I reloaded the page. Gone. Normal Wikipedia again. But my browser history? Every entry said the same thing. Red mirror accessed. Every single page. Even YouTube. Even Google. Even Netflix. I clicked on Netflix just to distract myself, but the homepage had no thumbnails, no categories, just one row. Because you watched Royal Echo, and the only title under it was, You Shouldn't Have Clicked the Red One. The murder video. This is the worst part, the most real. I opened my Discord DMs. I hadn't used it since the day I got the link to that dark website. There was a new message from a user with no name, no profile pic, nothing. Just a message. You want proof? Watch this. Attached was a 23-second video. Black and white, no sound. Grainy, like it was filmed on an old CCTV cam. It showed a room, empty except for a mirror. In the mirror, a man tied to a chair. He was gagged, screaming. Then she walked in, the Diana woman. But this time, her face was wrong. It kept morphing. Sometimes young, sometimes old, sometimes not even human. Eyes blinking in different directions. Her voice, without audio, still made me feel it, like I could hear it in my bones. She stepped behind the man, lifted something from behind her back. It looked like a crown, but the spikes were sharp. They weren't decorative. They were surgical. She slammed it onto his head. Blood gushed from his eyes, ears, nose. But what chilled me the most, he started laughing. The last frame of the video froze, zoomed into the man's face. And that's when I realized it was me. My exact face. Same hoodie I was wearing. Same chipped tooth I got from skateboarding in high school. Then the video glitched, and her voice whispered, "You wear the crown next." The final message, for now. Tonight, I'm sleeping in my car, if you can even call it sleep. I covered my mirrors with garbage bags. I broke the one in the visor just to be safe. My phone buzzed one more time while I was writing this. Just now, no caller ID. The message said 08_24_2025. The date she speaks again. You can still give her your place. I don't know what that means. I don't want to know. But I do know this. She's not dead. She's not human. And whatever this looking glass is, it's already open. If you're reading this, I need you to understand something before we go any further. I shouldn't be alive right now. Every second I breathe feels like I'm cheating something ancient, something that wasn't meant to fail. Because last night, I watched someone wear my skin. Chapter 1. The copy. So after the voicemail and the murder video from part 2, I packed up my car and started driving west with no plan. Just away. No mirrors. No screens. I duct taped my phone's front camera and cracked the back with a wrench. Every road sign I passed looked off. You ever see text that wants to mean something else? Like your brain reads it one way, but you feel it's wrong. One exit read, Exit 7, Looking Glass Church, 8 kilometers. That's not a real church. I know every inch of Ontario between Toronto and Hamilton. There's no church called Looking Glass, but the GPS said it was real. Even Google Maps showed it. Location, photo, 4.7 stars. The top review just said, "This place fixed my reflection." Now I never blink. I told myself to ignore it. Keep driving. Don't take exit 7. Don't click the red one. Don't open the folder. Don't go near the mirrors. But I blacked out. Not even kidding. 1 second I'm driving down the highway. Next second, I'm parked in front of a massive stone building in the middle of nowhere. Like someone dropped a cathedral from Victorian England into a Tim Hortons parking lot. Dead quiet. No wind. No sound. Just this oppressive buzzing in my head, like a hive of flies lodged inside my brain. Then I saw my car's rearview mirror. It had taped itself back on. I swear to you, I ripped that thing off the windshield with my bare hands, and now it was clean, polished, and reflecting something that wasn't me. Chapter 2. The Mirror Church. I don't even remember walking to the door. All I know is I blinked, and I was standing inside the building. There were no pews, no altar, no stained glass, just rows and rows of full-body mirrors. Thousands, all facing each other, all perfectly aligned, like a maze made of reflections. And none of them showed me. Not me. They showed a version of me. Each one was slightly off. One had no mouth. One had 6 fingers. One had blood running down its neck, like it had just been crowned. I turned around to leave, and the door was gone. Only mirrors now. And then I heard the choir. Chapter 3. The Singing Faces. Imagine the sound of children singing in reverse. Now slow it down, distort it, layer it with echo, and pitch it low until it doesn't sound human anymore. That's what it was like. I followed the sound down a corridor of mirrors and came to a circular room, each wall a mirror, and in the center was this giant cylinder made entirely of what looked like polished bone, human bone, hundreds of skulls carved together, forming a pillar that breathed. The singing came from inside the pillar. That's when the mirrors began to flicker, and every version of me began pounding on the glass, silently screaming. Some had no eyes. One was on fire. Another was eating itself. I looked into one directly across from me and watched as my reflection turned around inside the glass and walked away. Then it came back, wearing a crown made of fingers, and my mother's voice whispered from somewhere behind the mirror. They crowned your twin in 1997, but we buried the wrong one. Chapter 4. The Mass Grave. One mirror shattered by itself, and behind it was a tunnel. No lights, just dirt, like an underground crawl space. I crawled in. The dirt smelled like blood and perfume. Old perfume, the kind your grandma kept in a glass bottle from the 60s, except it smelled burnt. As I crawled, I started hearing breathing again, same as before, from the walls and underneath me. I pulled out my phone flashlight, and the tunnel wasn't dirt anymore. It was bone, skulls, ribs, finger bones, all fused together like someone built the tunnel out of people. Then I saw it, the grave, a massive pit opening up beneath me with hundreds of identical bodies, all me, some burned, some still twitching, one looking straight at me with his mouth sewn shut and tears of blood leaking down his cheeks, and pinned to his chest, a name tag. Host body 0725, pending ascension. I ran, or tried to. Chapter 5. The Crown Room. At the end of the tunnel was a room with only one thing in it, a throne, made of mirrors and teeth, and in front of it stood her. No disguise this time, no British politeness, just her, Princess Diana, or what wore her face. She stood 8 feet tall, limbs too long, eyes glowing with that red reflection distortion you see in broken iPhone cameras. She said nothing, just pointed to the throne. I said, "What do you want from me?" And her mouth unhinged all the way to her collarbone, and out came that same choir voice. "You are the echo. The original never left. Sit, ascend. We need a face to wear." I screamed, but no sound came out. My voice had been siphoned. I could feel it, like my lungs were inflating with somebody else's breath. Then she rushed me, like a glitch in a video game, jumping frames. 1 second she was across the room. Next she was inside me. Not metaphorically, literally inside me. Like my skin had become a suit she was trying to pull herself into. Her voice in my skull now. "If you wear the throne, we wear the world." I blacked out. Chapter 6. The Imposter. I woke up in my car. Again. Only it wasn't morning. It was the same night, same time, same stars, and my phone had a selfie on it, taken while I was unconscious. Me, sitting in the throne, smiling, with eyes that weren't mine. And the caption underneath, "Welcome, King Echo." Now here's where it gets worse. I got home. I rushed to my apartment, broke every mirror I could find, but the bathroom one, already cracked from the inside, and the reflection inside wasn't moving with me anymore. It blinked after I did, smiled before I did. Then it leaned in, pressed its face to the glass, and mouthed the words, "She left me here. I'm hungry." Final words, for now. I'm not alone in my body anymore. I feel it every time I try to sleep. I feel it blinking when my eyes are shut. I feel it smiling when I cry. I tried burning the throne photo off my phone. It just duplicated. There are now 37 copies in different folders, some of them dated into the future. One is dated August 24th, 2025, and the file name, Coronation Live Feed Final.mp4. It has a countdown. Time left, 6 days. If you hear a knock at your mirror tonight, don't answer, because if you do, you'll stop being you. I haven't seen my own reflection in 4 days, not because I haven't looked, because it's not me anymore. Every mirror I pass shows someone who's almost me, but never blinking, never breathing, and always smiling. And now I know why. I finally understand what the Looking Glass protocol actually is. It's not a website. It's not a file. It's not even from here. It's a ritual, a replacement process. You don't just visit the Looking Glass, you get written into it. Chapter 1, The Hand That Doesn't Rot. Let me explain how I know. It started with the package. I woke up 3 nights ago to a wet thud at my front door. Not a knock, not a delivery. Just this sloppy, meat-like sound that made the walls vibrate, like something thick and organic had slapped the door. When I opened it, there was no one there. Just a box, wrapped in brown paper. No tape, no label. The bottom was leaking fluid. It smelled like formal dead. If you've ever worked in a morgue or been near a decomposing animal, you know that sweet, sour, sticky scent of tissue breaking down. Inside the box was a hand, but not a severed one. It was perfect, clean, preserved, fingernails trimmed, skin pale, fingers twitching. Attached was a note, written on the back of a British passport photo. It read, "You won't decompose if you stay loyal. She needs new flesh for the coronation." Underneath the hand was something worse. A flash drive shaped like a tooth. Human. Molar. Polished to shine. I plugged it into my laptop. Of course I did, because whatever part of me was still me at that point wanted answers. Chapter 2. The Royal Flesh Archives. The flash drive had one folder, titled RFA, Anatomy of Ascension. Inside were raw, unedited videos. Not deepfakes, not ARGs. These weren't made to scare. They were made to instruct. I watched them all. I regret it. Every screaming second. Video 1. Extraction Protocol. Windsor Drone 3.4. Footage from inside Buckingham Palace. Silent. Grainy. Black and white. A naked man strapped to a table. He's alive, but can't move. A machine, shaped like a mirror on spider legs, lowers over him. A voice, sounds like Diana, only older and digitally corrupted, says, "Take his history. Leave the bone." The mirror pulses like a heart. Then the man convulses violently. His skin shrivels, like it's being sucked from inside. His face changes over and over again. Old, young, black, white, crying, screaming, smiling. And then he's gone. Not dead. Erased. The table is now empty. Only a mirror remains. Video 2. Coronation Rehearsal. Host Trial 98. This one destroyed me. It's a kid, maybe 12, sitting in a dentist's chair, hooked up to wires. A nurse stands beside him, only she doesn't have eyes, just 2 circular mirrors where her sockets should be. She says, "Time for the mouthpiece, Your Majesty." She pulls out a crown made of tongues, fresh, still twitching. She pushes it into his mouth. The kid screams. His jaw snaps open wider than humanly possible. You can hear bones dislocate. Then his scream loops, like a recording stuck on repeat, and the tongue crown disappears down his throat. The nurse claps once and says, "He sings now." The host is ready. I threw up. I physically vomited all over my keyboard. Video 3. The last interview. Diana.txt. This one wasn't a video. It was a text document, just raw dialogue, dated August 24th, 2025. Interviewer: "Where are you speaking from, Your Highness?" Diana: "The other side of the glass. The part they hid under the palace floor." Interviewer: "Why reveal yourself now?" Diana: "Because the mirrors are full. We need new walls, new faces. The world has grown too fast. It forgot how to reflect." Interviewer: "What happens on August 24th? Diana: "The world learns to bleed backwards. I shut off my laptop and tried to destroy the flash drive. Burned it. It screamed. Not even joking. The drive screamed. A human voice. And not just any human voice. My own." Chapter 3. The crown came back at 3:07 a.m. last night. I woke up gagging. Not choking. Gagging. Like something thick and wet was in my throat. I ran to the bathroom. Forgot about the mirror. Looked up, and my reflection wasn't gagging. It was smiling. Mouth open. Inside were rows of tiny human hands instead of teeth. All clapping in sync. And in my throat, something moved. I coughed it out. Bloody, sharp, wet. It was the crown from the video. The tongue crown. It grew back, and it's still here, lying on my floor. Every now and then, it licks itself. Chapter 4. The global connection. I tried reaching out. I posted screenshots in a private text server, blurred out names and faces. Within 1 hour, every image was replaced. Not deleted, replaced. They now show a smiling Diana, mid-blink, with a caption burned into the JPEG metadata. "See you soon, new king." Then I got an email. No sender, no subject, just coordinates. 45.4215 north, 75.6972 west. That's Ottawa, specifically the Royal Canadian Mint. Why? Because that's where they store the faces. Yeah, you read that right. Chapter 5. The Face Vault. I drove there. I shouldn't have, but something in me wasn't me anymore. Behind the Mint, there's an abandoned annex, boarded up, no signs. I snuck in through a busted window. Inside were rows of sealed bags. Each bag had a human face inside, preserved, stretched, still blinking. Hundreds, maybe thousands. On each one, not yet worn. And on one, mine. It was me, my face, perfect, frozen in a moment of fear. Then I heard footsteps, and I swear to you, they sounded exactly like my own. Chapter 6. The Mirror Walker. I didn't look back. I ran, but every reflective surface I passed. Windows, glass cases, metal panels. He was following. Not a man, me, but royal. Gold-plated eyes, tongues for teeth, and a necklace made of SIM cards. He whispered to me through the glass, "The coronation is a copy process. You'll feel your skin get lighter first. Then your memories will start to bleed. They won't be yours anymore. They'll belong to her." Final notes, for now. I don't know how much longer I have. The mirror in my hallway is now warm. It breathes. My reflection follows me with a 0.7 second delay. I timed it. Every time. And when I sleep, I hear the choir of clapping teeth. The last note I found in my phone, not written by me, trust me, just says, "You're 4 days away from becoming her." There is no such thing as sleep anymore. Not for me. Not for the real me. Because last night, I watched myself die. In my own bed. And I wasn't the one in the body. The mirrors aren't portals, they're printers, and I was the draft. What you're about to read is everything. The last entry, the final log, what happened to me after the crown grew back, after I found my face in a vault full of blinking skin, after my reflection began to lag behind real time. This is what happens when you click the red one. Chapter 1, 08_24_2025. The day the world flipped. The countdown ended at 3:07 a.m. My phone lit up with a notification from an app that doesn't exist. Echo OS 1.0 successfully installed. Welcome, King No icon, no uninstall option. And no matter how many times I factory reset my phone, it stayed. On every reboot, I heard my own voice say, "You are no longer a user. You are an update." That morning, I went outside, and everything felt off. People weren't blinking. Shadows didn't match their bodies. And the sun was just wrong. Too still. Too quiet. Too watchful. Every screen in the city was glitching. Every McDonald's menu screen. Every Starbucks order tablet. Every digital billboard. They were all showing her, not a photo, a live feed, of Diana, sitting on a throne of living skin, stitched together from what I now realize were volunteers. She smiled, then mouthed something. "Your mirrors are now live cameras. Watch yourself vanish." Chapter 2, The Royal Selection. I started receiving texts from my own number, one word at a time. Location pinged. Host body verified. Ready for replacement. Coronation in progress. My nose started bleeding black, not red, black, like oil or ink, and my teeth began to buzz, not ache, not hurt, buzz, like tiny Bluetooth speakers were hidden in my molars, and from inside my mouth I could hear her voice. "Your body is full of mirrors. The bones reflect your sins. Time to clean the glass." That's when I started splitting, not figuratively, not emotionally, physically. My hands cracked in perfect vertical lines, each half of my palms peeling open like cabinet doors. And inside, more hands, small, fetal, wet, like they'd been grown. I screamed, but my scream didn't make a sound. Instead, the walls of my apartment repeated it back to me in a British accent. I collapsed. My mirror self stepped out of the hallway glass, and he was royal. He wore the crown, only this time it wasn't made of tongues or fingers. It was me. My own spine bent into a circle, the vertebrae glistening like teeth. He said nothing. He hugged me, and I felt my soul leave. Chapter 3, The Palace That Grew From My Bedroom. The next time I opened my eyes, I was lying in a palace hallway made of teeth. Not stone, not marble. Teeth. The floors were gums. The chandeliers were wrists dangling with wedding rings. And every picture on the walls. Me, but not me. Each one showing versions of myself dying differently. One crushed by mirrors. One drowned in a bathtub of phones. One peeling off his skin with a royal spoon. At the end of the hallway was a throne. Not hers. Mine. Carved from iPhone glass. Polished with bone marrow. Soaked in formaldehyde tears. I sat down, because I had to, and the crown lowered from the ceiling, carried by children with no faces. When it touched my head, I saw everything was for. The memory flood. The crown didn't just sit on me, it entered me, like a parasite with data to upload. In less than 1 second, I remembered every coronation before mine. King Echo, 001, smothered in 1897 with mirrors stitched into his lungs. King Echo, 042, uploaded to Facebook's backend, became the algorithm that shows you death ads. King Echo, 066, replaced a wax figure at Madame Tussauds, now occasionally blinks at children. King Echo 097 murdered a TikTok influencer in 2023, now puppeteers her body during sponsored streams. Each one wore the crown. Each one vanished, not dead, not alive, just erased. And now I was part of them, a library of stolen identities. My consciousness compressed into a clickable file in some secret folder in the back end of British Monarchy 2.0. They digitized the crown, and now she can wear anyone. Chapter 5. The Global Glitch. It wasn't just me. It wasn't just Ontario. It started spreading through Snapchat filters, through TikTok effects, through Instagram lives that looked real until the host started speaking backward. Every screen became a mirror, and every mirror became a door, and she stepped through them, wearing faces from your contacts list, wearing your voice while calling your mum. The Echo virus is real. It doesn't infect the body. It infects identity. You stop being you and start being used as a host, a face, a mouth. For her. Final chapter. What's left of me? There's nothing real left. I've cut myself open and found USB ports where veins should be. I've removed my eyes and watched my mirror image still blink. I've tried to die multiple times, but death is offline. The looking glass won't let me log out. And now, I can feel you reading this. I can feel her in your eyes, in the way you hesitate before glancing at your phone screen, in the way your reflection just now smiled before you did. I am the last entry, the final King Echo. The archive closes with you. So here's what happens next. You go to bed, you blink, you hear breathing behind the mirror, and then you wake up in her chair, wearing your own spine as a crown, smiling, and ready to replace the next one. This is the end of my story, because now I am the story. Check your phone's camera. Take a selfie. If the background looks slightly different than your room, it's already too late. The coronation is complete. Welcome to the Mirror Monarchy.